Let's turn our attention to this. So some big updates from a couple of huge platforms for PulseChain that are really impactful here. Great news. Like you're saying, the stars starting to align. We're seeing so many bullish things happen right now. We'll start off with Coast real quick. If you wanted to pull their tweet up. So 0XCoast, we've talked about them many a time. One of the easiest ways to bridge on, well, technically you're not bridging, but to get onto PulseChain, straight from your bank account onto PulseChain. Seemingly out of the blue, Coast is back to onboard people onto PulseChain. They'd been gone for a couple of months now. They were having issues with the bank that they were previously using. Allegedly have over 10 new banks that they are working with that I don't think they're all squared away yet, but they at least have enough squared away and ready to go that they felt comfortable launching and getting things back up and going again. Now, I had heard a report that maybe it was going to be not until the fall until they were back up and running. So for them to be back already here in June, I didn't even think about this, but I mean, who knows how much that could impact the price that we're seeing right now, or like people onboarding that way. So awesome to see them back. We'll kind of dissect their tweet here, see what's working, see what's not, see what they're kind of getting back up and running. But the bare bones of it is up and running and good to go again from what I can really see from this. So this is fantastic. I know you have used them personally, Ewok, multiple times. Go ahead and we'll kind of break down what they say here. And how impactful do you think this is?
Yeah, so it says key details regarding launch process. It says we're back. Step 1, first stage enables international, which are existing users, before US users and new customers, which is live now. Step 2, in terms of features, we're starting with depositing USD and minting Coast directly on PulseChain. Then both direct gasless buys from USD to Pulse and burning redemptions will be added. So that's a new feature. New users from all countries will need to wait a bit longer. So basically, the first step was the existing users. I think they're going to kind of use them as the beta and test through it just to make sure there's no hiccups. And then new users from the rest of the countries will be able to have to go through the KYC provider. It says existing users don't need to re-KYC. So if you've not done this yet, you will have to go through the KYC again. Or not again, but you'll have to go through the KYC process. And it says we are integrating with a big tier 1 bank domestically in the United States. Surprise. So you'll all have access when that is complete. So if I read this correctly, existing international users only right now. Current users from the US probably next. And then it starts from new users from everywhere else. It says it's been a huge effort. We're proud to be back. Our only goal is to allow new money to flow into PulseChain. If you have any problems, use the intercom chat, which works very well. They are very responsive. So if any of you out there, non-US people that are trying to get through, it does work. It takes them just a couple minutes, and one of those guys will respond to you and start with the customer support. So it's very good. They're very responsive. Give them a little bit of a break while they get back into this. All these processes and processes are new. So please, don't bash them right away if something happens. Again, that's why they're kind of releasing this in stages so that they can get all their ducks in a row and get it working properly.
I think it's terrific. And, correct me if I'm wrong or what your thoughts are on this, but I think we'll see even more use with Coast. I mean, clearly they also just came right back and are getting their ducks in a row, like you said. But as we see the bull market rage on and we do see those ETH gas fees get worse and worse, I mean, we already know that there are alternatives to the regular bridge for PulseChain. Honestly, though, it's what I've been using exclusively now for weeks. Not only has Coast not been up, but also it's just Gwei has been so low on ETH. So it's been fantastic just to use the pulsechain.com bridge. We also, of course, have Spark Swap, which, it depends on how much you're sending over. You're going to have to look at your own circumstance. How much are you sending over? What are the ETH gas fees like at the time? But Coast, I'll tell you what, I mean, like when we get into those bigger parts of the bull market, and Coast is also really good for sending over large amounts too. Like if you wanted to do a wire transfer or something like that. When we get into those times where bridging may cost $50 or something, which is going to happen. I mean, that is going to happen as this bull market goes on. It may be more beneficial for you, depending on how much you're sending over, again, to use Coast, do an ACH transfer or something like that. So
Right.
I think it's fantastic to have them back. Go ahead with Fast
So
Abdul here.
Fast Abdul says Power City PortalX bridge is integrating with MEXC. This will allow for much cheaper and more efficient bridging to PulseChain from many chains, and that's a big win. Now, unfortunately, Fast Abdul, I don't know where you're from, but we here in the States are not allowed to use MEXC. So I don't know if that will affect it, or just because them integrating with it will allow them to use it anywhere. So I don't know. That'd be something interesting that we need to look into.
Well, if what they're doing, because we've seen PortalX swap before and how that works and everything. If you don't have to actually use MEXC or do like KYC stuff from the US or anything, and it just is using PortalX swap, maybe it is still accessible for US citizens because we can still use PortalX swap. So
Sure.
yeah, I guess we'll see. But if it's coming straight out of MEXC, then yeah, US citizens wouldn't be able to use it. But that's okay. I mean, we're still talking about a top 10 chain or
Sure.
exchange, excuse me.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean,
Although
yeah.
60 to 70% of users are from the United States, to be honest. And I forget where I heard that stat, but
So he just confirmed what I was speculating. Actually, he said, "Actually, sir, you would not be using MEXC. You would be using PortalX, 100% USA legal and DeFi." So it sounds like it's MEXC, maybe just on like the back end,
sure.
providing, yeah, for them to be able to come from different chains and stuff. So we do know the PortalX swap you can use from anywhere. So
Nice.
that's awesome. Yeah, didn't know that. And I know, we talked about PortalX swap way back in the day when it was like just kind of launching, and
Yeah.
I don't think it was totally working correctly and stuff like that. But it's an awesome tool that you can bridge over to PulseChain, 2 steps in one, basically. And for them to be using MEXC as well as liquidity routing. There you go.
Yep.
Perfect way of saying it. So that's fantastic. Yet another good thing. So we're seeing
Stars
all
are
these
aligning.
different ways. Yeah.
Stars are aligning.
They definitely are. Glad to see Coast back. Thank you for that, Fast Abdul, as well. We will look out for that from PortalX swap as well.
Give Andre a little shout out here. PulseChain is Solana's ugly little sis at the moment, so that's what he thinks.
Well, you know what the ugly little sister usually turns out to be. Just
Yeah.
warning you, Andre. So if you know anything about how that goes.